The flashbulbs were blinding, slicing through the midnight fog of the tarmac with a relentless, stuttering fury that mirrored the collective heartbeat of thousands gathered outside the terminal. For months, the global entertainment industry had kept its collective breath held, watching the meticulous, domino-like unfolding of military service obligations by the world's biggest musical phenomenon. One by one, the members of BTS had stepped away from the spotlight, trading stadium lights for camouflage, leaving a cavernous void in the international music landscape. But tonight, the status quo of global pop culture was violently upended when Kim Seokjin, universally adored as JIN, the worldwide handsome icon of BTS, emerged from the private arrival gate on American soil. The sheer volume of the response did not merely match previous milestones, it obliterated them. Industry insiders, veteran airport security details, and seasoned celebrity journalists stood in absolute disbelief as the roaring reception for JIN instantly eclipsed the already massive arrivals previously recorded for his bandmates Jungkook and J-Hope during their respective solo promotional runs in the United States. The atmosphere crackled with a palpable electric intensity that could be felt long before the aircraft's wheels had even touched the runway. Hours prior to touchdown, major transit hubs surrounding the airport had experienced unprecedented gridlock. Tens of thousands of dedicated army members draped in purple banners, holding custom LED signs and chanting synchronized fan chants, had transformed the sprawling international terminal into a sea of devotion. When J-Hope and Jungkook had previously touched down for their respective solo endeavors, their welcomes had been hailed as historic triumphs, setting new benchmarks for foreign artists arriving in North America. Yet what unfolded for JIN was an entirely different tier of cultural phenomenon. It was a visceral, tidal wave of sound and emotion, a deafening wall of cheers that reportedly triggered local noise complaints and forced airport authorities to deploy an emergency contingency security detail, usually reserved for visiting heads of state. As JIN stepped through the sliding glass doors, dressed in an effortlessly chic oversized trench coat that immediately sent global fashion platforms into a tailspin, he offered that signature heartwarming smile. In that exact fraction of a second, the crowd surged forward, and the media landscape shifted irrevocably. To truly grasp the magnitude of this monumental arrival, one must look closely at the intricate brotherhood and shared legacy of BTS as a whole. The journey of the septet, RM, JIN, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, has never been defined by individual milestones alone, but rather by an unbreakable symbiotic bond where every solo triumph simultaneously elevates the collective. When J-Hope toured through American music festivals with his groundbreaking solo aesthetic, he laid a fiery groundwork for what a solo BTS member could achieve on Western stages. When Jungkook subsequently dominated global charts with record-breaking streaming numbers and historic radio airplay, he shattered glass ceilings for Asian solo artists in the United States. Each member carried a piece of the group's heavy crown during their temporary separation, ensuring that the BTS flame never flickered out. Yet, JIN holds a unique, irreplaceable structural role within the group's ecosystem. As the eldest member, the comforting hung who anchored the group through their most grueling trainee days and their meteoric rise to global domination, his return to international soil carried an almost spiritual weight for the fandom. His discharge from military service had already broken global internet servers weeks prior, but this American arrival proved that his star power had not merely been preserved during his hiatus. It had multiplied exponentially, fueled by a world that had collectively yearned for his inimitable charm, razor-sharp wit, and soaring vocals. The implications of this unprecedented airport reception stretch far beyond mere fan enthusiasm or viral social media metrics. In the cutthroat arena of the American music industry, high-impact visibility is the ultimate currency, and JIN's arrival has completely rewritten the playbook for international artist management and promotional rollout strategy. Entertainment analysts and digital media strategists, tracking click-through rates and viewer retention metrics, have noted an immediate seismic spike in global search queries regarding JIN's upcoming schedules, brand partnerships, and anticipated solo musical releases. The engagement algorithms across major platforms are currently experiencing a historic anomaly, driven by the sheer velocity of user interactions tied to this single event. Every piece of footage, every high-resolution photograph, and every second of audio captured from that tarmac has been scrutinized, shared, and analyzed by millions across the globe. This level of organic, fervent engagement is the holy grail for digital creators and network programmers alike, guaranteeing that content centered around JIN's American resurgence will command unprecedented audience retention. Viewers are not simply watching, they are obsessively tracking every micro-expression, every outfit choice, and every subtle gesture, looking for clues about the future trajectory of both JIN's solo career and the highly anticipated inevitable reunion of all 7 BTS members slated for the near future. Beneath the deafening roar of the crowd and the blinding frenzy of the international press corps, something extraordinary and almost imperceptible occurred during JIN's historic airport reception, a microscopic detail that casual observers likely missed, but one that dedicated fans and industry insiders recognize as a potential turning point for the entire landscape of modern entertainment. As JIN paused for a fleeting moment to bow respectfully to the security personnel and wave to the ocean of purple supporters who had waited through the freezing night, his left hand briefly adjusted his jacket sleeve. Wrapped securely around his wrist was a custom-designed, understated silver bracelet, adorned with 7 distinct interlocking gems, each meticulously chosen to represent the birthstones of his 6 beloved brothers, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. In an industry notoriously driven by aggressive individual branding and fierce solo separation narratives, JIN's silent, deliberate nod to his groupmates during his biggest solo spotlight moment to date sent a thunderous message. It was a poignant, unmistakable declaration that despite the whirlwind of individual achievements, record-breaking chart entries, and massive solo arrivals in America, the soul of BTS remains entirely indivisible. This subtle gesture instantly catalyzed a massive digital detective movement online, with millions of fans dissecting the symbolism, driving social media interaction rates to astronomical heights and cementing a narrative of eternal brotherhood that guarantees long-term audience investment. The timing of this subtle yet profound gesture could not be more critical for the broader narrative of BTS, as they steadily approach their monumental, highly anticipated group reunion. While J-Hope and Jungkook previously set blazing trails with their respective American arrivals, establishing that each member possesses the independent star power to command massive Western crowds on their own, JIN's arrival bridges the gap between individual excellence and collective invincibility. For months, Western media outlets have relentlessly speculated about the future of K-pop groups' post-military enlistment, often projecting narratives of inevitable fragmentation or shifting priorities. By wearing the symbols of Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook so prominently on American soil, JIN effectively dismantled those speculative rumors in a single graceful motion. He reminded the world that every milestone he achieves and every record-breaking airport welcome he commands is built upon the shared foundation of 7 men who changed the course of music history together. This overarching narrative arc creates a deeply emotional, cinematic viewing experience for the audience, transforming standard celebrity news into an unfolding, high-stakes drama of loyalty, patience, and triumphant return. As this developing story continues to dominate global headlines, the ripple effects are already being felt across digital platforms, driving unprecedented viewer retention and engagement metrics. Content creators and media analysts tracking the digital footprint of JIN's American arrival have observed a fascinating psychological phenomenon among viewers. The retention rate for videos covering this event peaks dramatically in the final seconds, specifically because audiences are desperately hunting for further visual confirmation of the group's unbreakable bond. The inclusion of that single symbolic bracelet has transformed a standard celebrity arrival story into an intricate puzzle, compelling viewers to watch until the very end to catch every possible angle, every hidden meaning, and every predictive hint about what comes next. In the realm of digital media, this is the ultimate formula for success. High emotional resonance paired with meticulous visual storytelling that keeps eyes glued to the screen. With JIN's American schedule only just beginning, and the remaining members steadily completing their own military service milestones, the stage is set for a cultural crescendo unlike anything the entertainment world has ever witnessed. the king has returned to American soil, and as his subtle gesture proved, he brought his brothers right along with him in his heart, ensuring that the legacy of BTS burns brighter, fiercer, and more united than ever before. The shockwaves generated by JIN's arrival on American soil extended far past the tarmac, instantly cascading across digital ecosystems and reshaping media trends worldwide. Within hours of stepping out of the terminal, the event triggered a massive surge in analytics across multiple streaming platforms, news aggregators, and social networks, proving once again that the collective impact of BTS operates on an entirely different dimension. Industry researchers tracking audience retention metrics noted that viewership loops for footage of JIN's airport reception reached record highs, driven heavily by fans dissecting every second of the broadcast. This heightened level of engagement is a masterclass in digital storytelling, demonstrating how modern pop culture events can command absolute attention through a careful blend of high-stakes anticipation, visual charisma, and deeply emotional subtext. As millions tuned in from every corner of the globe, the conversation naturally expanded to encompass the broader roadmap of the group, touching upon how individual milestones achieved by JIN, Jungkook, and J-Hope collectively paved the way for an even grander future. Every single member of the septet, RM, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, Jungkook, and JIN himself, holds an indispensable piece of the puzzle that continues to captivate international audiences. While individual schedules, solo album rollouts, and international promotional runs keep the spotlight intensely active, the underlying thread connecting them all remains their shared history and mutual support. When fans analyze the scale of JIN's American reception compared to previous arrivals, the discussion inevitably loops back to the unique strengths each member brings to the table. J-Hope's electrifying performance energy, Jungkook's record-breaking chart dominance, Jimin's artistic grace, V's cinematic presence, Suga's musical genius, and RM's visionary leadership all contribute to a collective legacy that amplifies whatever any single member does on their own. This interconnected narrative is precisely what keeps viewers glued to their screens, watching until the final frame to catch any hint or teaser about how these individual paths will ultimately converge back into a unified group force. Looking ahead, the momentum shows no signs of slowing down, setting a high benchmark for future media rollouts and international appearances. Content creators and digital strategists analyzing these trends point out that maintaining high viewer retention relies heavily on sustaining this exact kind of multi-layered storytelling, one where a simple airport arrival transforms into a sprawling narrative about brotherhood, resilience, and global dominance. As the narrative continues to unfold across future tour stops, television appearances, and digital releases, the audience remains locked in, eager to see what history-making milestone the members will shatter next. The story does not end with a single crowded terminal or a flashing camera crew. Rather, it serves as another powerful chapter in an ongoing legacy, leaving millions around the world waiting anxiously for the next moment to unfold on screen. As the tour logistics accelerate and the massive stadium dates loom closer on the horizon, the true measure of JIN's American takeover is revealing itself in real time across every major cultural hub in the United States. Media analysts tracking public response have noted that the sheer scale of the crowds waiting outside terminal gates and stadium loading zones has broken historical precedents set by previous solo tours. When JIN stepped off his flight, his effortless, globally celebrated visual presence immediately triggered an avalanche of digital engagement that surpassed the peak metrics of both Jungkook and J-Hope's prior arrivals. The resulting spike in click-through rates and high-retention video views points to an insatiable global audience, hungry for every second of footage. Fans are meticulously analyzing each frame, looking for underlying clues about the group's grand trajectory, proving that public fascination with the septet remains at an absolute fever pitch. This relentless wave of media attention is not happening in a vacuum. It serves as a vital anchor for the entire group's collective momentum. While RM, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook each command their own distinctive spheres of influence, JIN's current position at the vanguard of the American schedule has amplified the visibility of all 7 members. Every interview, every viral airport flash mob, and every trending hashtag acts as a stepping stone toward the ultimate reunion of the group. Industry insiders point out that this structured pacing, where individual triumphs continuously feed back into the collective narrative, is a masterclass in modern entertainment positioning. It guarantees that public interest never wanes, keeping retention graphs steady and driving maximum RPM across digital monetization channels, as millions of viewers worldwide loop the coverage to catch every subtle nuance. The unfolding chapters of this massive international run demonstrate that the bond uniting BTS remains unbreakable, regardless of individual spotlight moments or geographical separation. As the tour prepares to electrify massive venues, from East Coast stadiums to West Coast arenas, the narrative continuity established by JIN's historic welcome ensures that the audience's emotional investment remains paramount. Viewers are not just following a sequence of isolated tour dates, they are tracking a sprawling, high-stakes cinematic journey of brotherhood, resilience, and triumphant global supremacy. With every passing milestone, the anticipation builds toward an inevitable crescendo, leaving no doubt that when all 7 members finally stand united on stage again, the impact will redefine the history of modern music forever.